Yes. Hello. This is the beginning of this is part one of the video series, and then it's about how to configure the lab work we've been given in the ENSP. So it's going to be a 6-part video. The first one will be the introduction. After that, part two will be the basic configuration, which is So the first part will take into consideration the introduction, the address planning, and the lab topology, right? And then we will do basic system configuration. This part, we do this part inside. This will be part 2. Then we do the VLAN configuration, and then the VLAN if configurations in part 3. Then we do STP part 4. We do routing in part 5. Then finally we test in part 6. So I didn't want to do everything in one video because it will be very lengthy and then difficult to follow, right? So I decided to split them up. So the first video, it's just a brief information. A brief intro. So as a network engineer for Ray Electronics, you've been tasked to plan and implement their networks to link their head office and their branch office at Sunyani. The company will be using this block for the branch office and this block for the head office, right? There are 6 departments in this company. The company works with 2 ISPs, say MTN and Vodafone. Vodafone serving as backup, right? So the whole idea is this company, Raytronics Incorporation, they already have their head office and they've established a new branch office at Sunyani, but then they need you to link the network architecture at Sunyani to their head office, right? So it means they already have the network established in their head office. So what we are going to do is to provide a link between that of the head office to the branch office, right? They have 2 ISPs, say MTN and Vodafone, right? And Vodafone will serve as a backup route. So if the MTN route is not available, they are going to use Vodafone as a backup. Yes, with that said, we move on to the address planning. The address planning is basically what we've been doing so far. We have an address block, which is the 10.10.10.0/24 network, right? So with the subnet, a max length of 24, it means we have 256 valid hosts that we can configure. The company has 6 departments. Each of them has a number of valid hosts that they need. So as the network administrator, we have to plan the addressing system to meet this demand. So first of all, we just go through the normal addressing plan using this formula m equals 32 minus log 2, and I've just written it down into a table form. But the part I want to talk about is the management. They need 8 valid valid hosts addresses, but we can't choose a block size of 8, because if we do that, we will end up having 6 valid addresses, because the first one and the last one will be used as network and broadcast respectively. So we would have to choose, for here we would have to choose 16 instead of 8, right? So then we will have 28 instead of 29. The next one is the lab topology. This is what we've been given to configure. So we are just going to set up this ourselves in a new topology sheet. I'll just open the ENSP, right? New topo. Let me zoom in a bit. Then we will place our switches. So we'll start from here, switch 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These are layer 3 switches, so we would have to choose layer 3 switches. This is a layer 3 switch. The one with the 3 lines are layer 2 switches, these ones. So this, we will choose this, replace 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7. All right. Yeah, 5, 6, 7 in that order. Then we choose replace routers 1, 2, 3. So we will place routers 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'll place 2 pieces here. PC1, PC2. And then probably we will just rename it to match what is on the sheet, right? So you do switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. Oh, for Christ's sake. Let me just start them. Let's start this group. Let's start our routers. Yeah, we want to do the connections, right? Usually we use the auto. We use the auto in the lab, so you just click here, then place, and then click here, and then place. But then if we do this, we'll end up, it will choose the port, available ports. You see, when we place it, it used 001. We don't want that, because the TA has specifically assigned these numbers, so that, and they are being referenced down here. So if we change them, it will be difficult for us to follow. So we're just going to use the copper, right? Copper, when you, over here we need 9 connected to 9. When you click on this, it will bring up the available ports, then you choose the one you want. So 9 connected to 9, I think 24 connected to 24, and then 4 to 5, and I think we'll connect, is it 10 or 17? 10 to this. Yeah, so I'll just do vertical alignment here. And there are some things I would like us to do before we end this part. We'll be assigning some IP addresses, okay? So I just want us to write them on the sheet, so that to be easier. We'll be assigning G000, we will be assigning this, right? So you click here, which is the text, G000 over here, this interface will be assigning this IP address, right? So yes, so this IP address is for this interface. Then we'll be assigning this to interface 2, right? So this text, we click text, you will be assigning this to interface 2. So I think you can choose to skip this if you can find your way out easily. Over here, I think it's 192.168.1.2/24. Yes, and then on switch 5, the VLAN F1, you're assigning this particular IP address. Okay, so we'll click here. Let me just type VLAN F1, because this is a virtual interface. It's not available, it's not written on any port, so we would have to create the virtual interface, and then we assign this IP address. So I'll just write it beside it or beneath it. Then I think on router 1, it says we should add the first valid address in VLAN 8. When we check our addressing table, the departments have been assigned VLAN IDs, right? So VLAN 8 corresponds to engineering. This is where their address starts, and this is where it ends. Right? So the very first one, which is .160, serve as the network address, and then 191 will serve as the broadcast address. So the very first valid IP address will start from 161. Right? So let me just copy this. Subnet mask is 27. So text. Yes, so this is 161/27. Yes, sorry, we didn't connect PC2. PC2 is connected to 17. Good. So this is where we'll end for part 1, and then we come and continue part 2.